Hey Taurus, welcome to your end of year reflection reading, where we'll take a peek at lessons that you have learned throughout 2022 and how best to move forward into 2023. So we're going to start first by pulling a couple of oracle cards just to see what energy is surrounding this reading, what some major themes were for you over the past year. So the first card that we have out for you is Magical Tools Magnification. And let's pull another and see what other energies are surrounding this reading for my Taurus collective. What else is surrounding you guys? And what we have for you is trust. So what this looks like is that throughout the year 2022, that there was this sense of you sort of trusting in yourself, trusting in the process, and understanding what it is that you need and using all of your gifts to get to your goals. I think that prior to this year, there was a lot of uncertainty that was surrounding you. And I think that even throughout a good part of 2022, you were a bit unsure about what your path forward looked like. And it required a lot of soul searching for you to sort of figure out who you are, where you are, who you want to be, what it is that you want to do, what you want your life to become. And it feels as though you sort of took inventory of everything that has sort of brought you to this place. What can I do to move forward? What tools do I sort of have in my toolbox that I can use to move forward? How can I grow and expand over this period of time? And I think that, again, while there was a lot of uncertainty surrounding this process for you, there was an element of building trust over this period of time and knowing sort of that you're doing the best you can with what you have in this moment, and that life is not something that's stagnant, that there's the opportunity for growth. There's always the opportunity to collect more tools as you experience life. So I think for you guys, 2022 was just a big period of introspection and growth. But let's get into some tarot and see what other messages we can pull. So first, we're going to take a peek at the major theme of the past year for you guys, for my Taurus collective. And we have the Nine of Inspiration in reverse. So this is the Nine of Wands in traditional tarot. So the Nine of Wands, when it's upright, really sort of signifies a battle, right? Something that has sort of worn you down but not out. So you're still standing, you still have some bumps and bruises, but you're here. And so with the Nine of Wands in reverse, it feels as though, again, you've started coming out of that worn out energy where you're sort of assessing what has been going on with you and who you are in this moment, and making those decisions about things that you want to do differently, things that you want to sort of build upon going forward. And we have that also clarified by the Three of Materials, or the Three of Pentacles in traditional tarot. So this is really about collaboration, being able to work with others. So if you had a situation where you were a little bit unsure of your competency when it came to working, or how it is that you earn money, then you started sort of taking steps to figure out how you could be more effective, how you could make more money. If this has to do with your interpersonal relationships, then you sort of took stock of how you engage with other people. How much energy and time and resources do you give to those people around you? And what does that return look like on your investment? Have you been sort of battered and bruised by your engagements with other people around you? Have you put your trust in a place where it doesn't belong? I almost feel like these are some of the questions that were floating around you throughout the year, that you're sort of trying to figure out, how can I show up more authentically for myself, but also for the people around me who are deserving of me showing up? So something that you grew from. What was a situation in the past year that you were able to grow from? And what we have for you is the Ace of Emotions. So this is the Ace of Cups in traditional tarot, and it really signifies the new beginning of emotional connections. So I think that throughout this past year, that there have been moments where you have sort of engaged with new people, that you have sort of tried to build friendships. I think for a lot of you, you have tried to build relationships that may not necessarily have worked out the way that you would hope that they would, but it's almost as if with each attempt, you got a new lesson out of it. You learned something about yourself. You learned something about humanity that you carried with you into the next situation. And we also have the Page of Emotions, or the Page of Cups. So I do think that with all of these new beginnings that you try to explore and some of the challenges that you experienced with them, that you have sort of learned to yourself, maybe I shouldn't give so much initially. And that goes back with this theme here of figuring out who it is and how to give your energy to, so that you won't end up in a place where you're absolutely worn out, you're exhausted, you've gotten no return on that investment. So as painful as I think some of those experiences have been, it almost feels as though they were meant to help you grow as a person. They were meant to help you increase the level of discernment that you have in terms of how you interact with other people. And I think that for a minute, your steps were a little bit unsteady. It sort of threw you off because it's sort of like, what am I doing wrong? I don't even know if I can make the right decisions now going forward. But it was all about your learning, Taurus. So something that may have held you back a little bit, we have the Chariot. So the Chariot is really about forward movement. It's about progression. And I think that for a lot of these situations that you may have found yourself in when it comes to other people, you were determined to sort of push through. And what I just heard in my head was that old country song, and I don't know who sings it, but some of the lyrics are, know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em. And so I think that Taurus, that bit of stubborn nature that you might have inside of you, told you to hold them instead of just cutting your losses and sort of moving forward and accepting that perhaps this person is not meant to be a part of your life's journey. We have that clarified by the Knight of Voices, or the Knight of Swords in reverse. So the Knight of Swords, when it's upright, is a very rapid energy, but it's also a very fickle energy. It's very in and out. It's very wishy-washy. It's not stable. So I think that one of the things that held you back was this level of determination that you had in terms of trying to continually move forward with people who were just not meant to be a part of your story. And I think it came from a good place. I think it's because you wanted the best for yourself and you wanted to also see the best in the others around you. But it was sort of to your detriment because they weren't necessarily giving you what it was that you needed. So something that may have brought you joy over the past year, outside of these, I think, a little bit traumatic relationships that you found yourself in, we have the Hanged Muse, or the Hanged Man in traditional tarot, and we have this in reverse. So something that, may have had you stuck, that you may have not been able to necessarily see clearly. I do think that at points that realization sort of came in that whoever this person or people were not a really good fit for you. And I think coming to that place of clarity would feel like a weight off of your shoulders. And it's not necessarily, I think, anything that you did. And I think that that was the realization that you may have come to, where it's like, you know what? I did everything I could. Like, I tried to be a good person. I tried to be a good friend. I tried to be a good partner, and it just didn't work out. So I do feel as though there is a weight that was sort of released from you. And we have that clarified by the Four of Inspiration or the Four of Wands. So this is the foundation card. This is the gateway, 1111. So coming into this place of clarity, not being stuck anymore, I think allowed you the time and the space to start moving on, to start figuring out how to build new foundations with other people. And more than anything, to build a more stable and discerning foundation for yourself. So you should be happy about that, Taurus. I mean, sometimes life lessons take a little while to sink in. And, as my mama says, a hard head makes a soft ass. And, I think that your stubbornness and your determination, I think, of trying to make things work with other people kind of made a little soft ass that was right for the spanking. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do feel as though you started to come out of that energy, maybe a little bit later in the year, but it almost feels as though you were able to put down a burden. So something that you should acknowledge that was good for you over the past year, something to acknowledge, and we have two that came out for you. We have the Star in reverse, and we also have the Knight of Materials or the Knight of Pentacles in traditional tarot. So the Star is really about hope. It's about wishful thinking. And I think that something good that came out of this is that you sort of let go of that level of wishful thinking, at least when it came to this particular person or group of people, where you kind of got to the point where reality kind of came in and was like, come on now, what are you doing? What are you doing? And at the same time that was happening, we have the Knight of Materials that came in very, very slowly, because again, I think that this was a process for you, Taurus. But the Knight of Materials or the Knight of Pentacles is really about a very stable energy that comes in for you. And so I think that something absolutely beautiful that came out of this past year was you sort of letting go of these rose-colored glasses that you may have had when it came to dealing with other people. And you're now looking for something that's more stable. It's like, okay, with this energy that I have in me, with this dedication, this stubbornness, with me wanting to see the best in you, what is it that you're bringing me in return? Are you bringing me the Knight of Swords energy that's just real wishy-washy and in and out? Or are you bringing me the Knight of Pentacles, which is something that's much more stable? That's a good foundation that we can build on. So I think that the illusions are over, and you came to the realization that you want, need, and deserve a lot more than what you'd previously been offered. So how you can release the energy of the past year going into 2023, we have the Six of Materials or the Six of Pentacles. This is about balance. This is about reciprocity, equal give and take. So I think that you've already started, laying that groundwork for what it is that you expect out of yourself and what it is that you expect out of other people. And we have that clarified by the Four of Materials or the Four of Pentacles. So this is really about holding back a little bit, where you may have gone all in, full force, given 100% of yourself off the break. Taurus, I think that you're going to dial that back a little bit. And Spirit is saying it's okay not to go in whole hog. If you don't want to jump right into the middle of the ocean, it's okay to start by sticking in a pinky toe on the shore. It's okay for you to do that. And so that seems to be the best way for you to release what you've experienced in the past. And that doesn't mean that you let go of the lessons that you learned, but making sure that moving forward, you look for balance. You look for that equal give and take, and you don't allow yourself to sort of get sucked in. This doesn't have to be an all or nothing proposition when it comes to other people. So withhold your energy a little bit, save a little something for yourself so that you don't end up back in that Nine of Wands, that exhausted, battered soldier position that you were in for, I think, a good chunk of 2022. So, lessons learned, Taurus. I hope that this was helpful. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next one.